Good morning, boys and girls. This is Miss Harman, and today I wanted to read you a story called Wallace's Lists. On the front cover is a picture of Wallace, the main character, and he's making a list. Have you ever made lists before? What have you made lists of? Great. I know I've made lists too. I've made shopping lists for when I need to go to the grocery store, or to-do lists if I need to do stuff around the house. Those are some of the lists I've done. All right, today we're going to learn about what happens to Wallace and his lists. So let's get started. All right. The author is Barbara Botner and Gerald Kruglich, and it is illustrated by Olaf Landstrom. Wallace a mouse could do almost anything that is, as long as he had a list. He kept a list of all the clothes in his closet. That way he could get dressed in the dark and everything would match. Wallace had lists of pets he would like, stories he loved, and exciting weather, such as thunderstorms, hailstorms, and blizzards. When Wallace woke up, he wrote a to-do list. This morning it read, 1. Water plants. 2. Take a walk. Wallace watered his plants. Then he rang for the elevator. Hello, my name is Albert, announced Wallace's new neighbor. Wallace would have liked to say, hello, my name is Wallace, but saying hello was not on his list. Wallace wondered what Albert was like. So Wallace only does things that are on his list. What do you think about that? I think that's very interesting too. The next to-do list Wallace wrote read, 1. Say hello to Albert. 2. Laundry. So Wallace introduced himself to his new neighbor. Would you like to listen to some music? Asked Albert. I have to do my laundry, Wallace explained. Laundry is laundry, said Albert, but music is life. Wallace thought of Albert as he watched his clothes tumble around in the washing machine. When Albert called out, I'm off to paint some ducks, Wallace wished painting was on his list. What do you think of Albert so far? How is he similar or different to Wallace? These are good things to think about. Can't wait to hear your ideas. Later that afternoon, Wallace saw Albert's painting in the hallway. Something had gone wrong. Wallace knocked on his door. Where are the ducks? I changed my mind, Albert boasted. Wallace was dumbfounded. That means he was shocked. Changing my mind is an adventure, Albert explained. I don't like adventures, said Wallace. An adventure can be anything that isn't planned for. You mean anything that isn't on a list? Said Wallace. Exactly, said Albert. Do you ever use a map? Wallace continued. I have lots of maps. I don't need maps, said Albert, because wherever I go, there I am. Do you see his painting of the airplane? He chose to paint airplanes instead of ducks. How did Wallace feel about that? What if you get lost? Being lost is automatically an adventure, cried Albert. Suppose you get lost, then fall down and hurt yourself. I pick myself up and keep going, replied Albert. When I get in an accident, it makes me feel better to write a list, said Wallace. Wallace showed Albert list number 3. Accidents that happened to me. 1. Bumped my nose while vacuuming. 2. Scraped my knee same day as bumped my nose. And 3. Stubbed my toe. Excellent, said Albert. Perhaps you would like to join me sometime? If I ever did go somewhere, said Wallace, it would be to a place from list number 7. Number 7. Places with funny names. 1. Kathmandu. 2. Mali, Timbuktu. 3. Walla Walla. 4. Glockamora. Glockamora? How about Tamora? Cried Albert. So here's Wallace's list of accidents and his list of places with funny names. To be fair, explained Wallace, there's one more list you should know about. Number 8, things I hate. 1, rain streaming down my glasses. 2, sand in my shoe. 3, being hot. 4, being cold. 5, being wet. And especially 6, being lost. It is quite possible that at least one of those things might happen if you went to Glockamora, Albert admitted. Wallace agreed to think about it anyway. That night, the idea of an adventure made Wallace so nervous he couldn't sleep. When he finally dozed off, it was dawn. So why do you think Wallace can't sleep? Over here is his dream about going to Glockamora. All right, let's keep going. Wallace awoke to the sound of rain plinking on his window. Plink, plink. He thought that on such a dreary day, he might like to share some nice onion soup with Albert. He looked at his recipe. It's on his fridge. It says, onion soup. 1, 3 onions. 2, 2 cups of water. 3, dab of butter. 4, pinch of flour. 5, dash of pepper. Wallace only had 2 onions. Perhaps Albert had one to spare. On his friend's door, he saw a note. I knocked, but you didn't answer. Maybe you don't want to have an adventure after all. I'm off to Glockamora on my plane, the rapid rodent. Wallace watched the sky grow darker and heard the rumbling get louder. A major storm was headed their way. Torrents of water fell from the sky. Wallace had to warn Albert about the dangerous storm. So here's the onion soup recipe, the list on his fridge, and then this is the note from Albert. How does Wallace feel about Albert going out to Glockamora in the rain? Is he worried about his friend? Yeah. What do you think he'll do next? Let's find out. Wallace had to make his way to the airport before his friend took off. He unfolded his map and waited for the bus. Before he knew it, he was drenched. His glasses streamed with water. His map was soggy. If this was an adventure, he sincerely hoped he'd never have one again. He looked so unhappy, looking at his map. At the airport, the arrivals and departures board was the biggest list Wallace had ever seen. And it was changing right in front of his eyes. He would have enjoyed just standing there and watching it flicker, but first he had to find Albert. So here he is, amazed at the changing terminal list. He raced from terminal to terminal. He caught on a baggage belt and tumbled around with the suitcases. In Terminal 3, he was chased by a cat. Wallace rushed outside and a bus splashed water on him. Wallace decided to go back inside and climb up to the observation deck where he could see almost everything. So what's happening to Wallace at the airport? Do you think it's anything that would be on his list? All right. No planes were taking off or landing, so perhaps his friend was safe. Oh dear. That is quite the storm, boys and girls. What do you notice in the picture? Yeah, there's lightning. There's so much rain. No one's outside. Wow. Then he noticed a sad-looking fellow. Albert! Wallace was thrilled that his friend was safe. He told Albert how his map got soggy, how he didn't have his rain goggles, and how he was bumped around on the luggage belt and chased by a cat. Wallace, you had a real adventure, Albert exclaimed. But he didn't say much more, since his own adventure on the rapid rodent had been canceled. Look, they're so happy. Wallace remembered a list he read in the newspaper. How to cheer up your pals. 1. Listen to them. 2. Buy them chocolate. 3. Tickle their whiskers. But Albert was not heartened by these remedies. Wallace had one more idea. He took Albert to the baggage claim. They held on to each other and rode around the conveyor belt until they were dizzy. So here's the list he read in the newspaper about how to cheer up your pals. He's trying to give him, what is he trying to give him from the list? Chocolate, yeah. And then here they are playing on the conveyor belt. They hopped onto a fancy piece of luggage that was loaded onto a trolley and led outside, where it was then heaved into a huge limousine. They watched the city lights whiz by. Here they are, getting ready to go into the limo. And then here they are. When the limousine stopped at a giant building on Park Avenue, Wallace whispered, "Let's go inside." Are you surprised by what Wallace says? Did he make a list for this? No, he didn't. Wallace and Albert rode up the elevator to the 30th floor, stepped onto the balcony, and gazed down on the whole city. "We are almost as high as my plane," said Albert. "I can see just as far, and it's not bumpy. Thank you, Wallace." Wow, look at their view. I wish I had a steaming bowl of onion soup, said Albert when they arrived home. Wallace was just about to tell Albert he needed 3 onions to make proper soup when he decided instead just to chop up the 2 onions he had and put them in water. Then he sprinkled in some sugar, even though it wasn't in the recipe. As the soup simmered, Albert found Wallace's list, number 11. Funny words. 1. Rhinoceros. 2. Hippopotamus. 3. Kayak. How about Cincinnati? Albert suggested. My Aunt Hattie lives in Cincinnati. Okay. My Aunt Hattie lives in Cincinnati, said Wallace. Do you really have an Aunt Hattie?
No.
Of course not, laughed Wallace. Telling jokes had never been on any of Wallace's lists. Onion soup with only 2 onions was delicious. When Albert went home, Wallace made a new list. Number 13, my adventures. Number 1, going to the airport in the rain. 2, getting lost. 3, being chased by a cat. 4, rolling around on the conveyor belt. 5, riding in a limousine. 6, being on Park Avenue balcony. 7, making onion soup with only 2 onions. 8, telling a joke. It was a long list, the longest list Wallace had ever written, but it was not nearly as good as list number 14. My best friend, number 1, Albert. That was his favorite list ever. So scholars, that's the end of our story. And I have some questions for you. So we've met Albert and Wallace. How were they different at the beginning of the story? How would you describe Wallace? How would you describe Albert? Even though they were different, they ended up becoming friends and they helped each other. How do Wallace and Albert help each other in the story? Great job. Yeah. Wallace went to the airport to help Albert, and then Albert showed Wallace that he didn't need to always have a list for something, and that it was okay. Wallace learned a lot from Albert. All right, scholars, I hope you enjoyed today's story, Wallace's List, and that you have a good rest of your day. All right, bye.